Guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I just finished watching the finale of Love is Blind UK and it was beautiful. Like, I have to admit, it was great. The couples that ended up getting married, I saw that coming. The ones that didn't, I absolutely saw that coming as well. As I was watching the finale, all I could think of is I cannot wait to get here and talk about it with you guys because I have so much to say. So let's dive right in and let's talk about it. So Catherine and Freddie, I've had just all through the season, I've had different views of Catherine. Like, at some point I'm like, I think at the beginning I liked her. Towards the middle I was like, oh, what's going on? And then now at the finale I'm like somewhere in between. So look at what happened, right? You could tell right leading into the wedding day that Freddie was checked out. You could tell. It was so obvious. I think it was so obvious that even Catherine could feel it. So Catherine wanted to say yes at the altar, and she kept on telling like her friends and everybody like she's just worried that Freddie won't say yes. And before they got there, like Freddie sent her a pair of beautiful earrings to match the ring, and then the friends were trying to reassure her and whatnot. On the other hand, Freddie was talking to his sister, and the sister expressed to him her concern towards him getting married to Catherine at that point. I honestly don't think that what she said changed what he was going to do at the altar. He had already made up his mind, if you ask me, about what he was going to do there. So when they got to the altar, and as usual, you know, the minister says what they say, and then the couple is to say I do. Catherine said I do, I think, and Freddie said he doesn't. But he also kind of gave this speech where he was trying to explain that he still very much loves Catherine and wants to pursue a relationship with Catherine, but he felt like they needed to work on some things. You know, we saw the things that they needed to work on. Catherine got so emotional and kind of leaves the venue and like storms out, doesn't want him to hug her, goes to stay alone in a room. Freddie then comes out as well, goes to talk to her parents. That was very, very courageous and respectful. He literally just sits down with her parents and tells them, I still very much love her. I still want to pursue a relationship with her. This decision is just because I feel like we have things we need to work on. And the parents actually were very pleased with how Freddie spoke to them and kind of his, the way he handled the situation. After that, Freddie went to meet Catherine, but she was in the room, trying again to explain to her, like, I still love you. I still want us to have a relationship, blah, blah, blah. Catherine was so hurt. But what I discovered watching it, the hurt wasn't just because he said no. It was also connected to the fact that for her, rejection is a trigger. Because she has expressed that, being that she was adopted, she feels that sense of being rejected by her birth parents, which obviously we don't know what happened, but it's like, it's not uncommon for people who have those kind of but I say triggers or traumas, so like have difficulty with relating to people in a very open way. Because when I understood that she had that specific issue, like fear of abandonment, I kind of started to understand why she comes across sometimes as she's almost pushing Freddie away with some of the things she says and does. And I started to believe that may be an automatic response that she gets when someone is getting close to her, and she doesn't even realize it. Like, I've seen it happen, guys. And I'm not justifying any of the things that she did or did not do, but like, it made sense to me, some of the things that we saw happen in the season. She struggles with rejection. She has a fear of abandonment. So what does she do? she pushes you away emotionally by doing and saying certain things that create that distance. And I might be wrong, but that's what I sensed. So because she was so much in that hurt, she wasn't at that point like realizing or understanding where Freddie was coming from. Because if you ask me, come on, the issues they had were real. She has this lifestyle where she was like to hang out in very expensive places, and I don't know, whatever places they are, they seem to bother a lot of the guys that she spoke to in the show, right? Because it bothered Ollie as well before when they were in the pods. He is like the opposite. That's one problem. Second problem, he is a very jovial, funny person. She gets annoyed when he's being jovial and funny and cracking jokes, and becomes very rude and disrespectful towards him. Second major problem. There were other problems. I think these two were like the biggest ones, which we all saw, we all noticed, and obviously he did as well, and his sister did as well. So I didn't understand why Catherine was surprised that this is exactly how it was going to go. Like, obviously this was going to be the outcome, because you guys have issues that I personally do not think they will overcome, even if they decide to date after this. But I'm glad to see them try. You know, we wish them well, but I do think that relationship is over. I think it's not going to work outside in the real world. It's going to probably be even worse than it was on the show, because then there's going to be less pretense on the side of Catherine. So yeah, so that was it. It was a no at the altar, and I guess the next we'll hear from them will be at the reunion. Next couple, Maria and Tom. Maria and Tom, it ended exactly the way I predicted. But I do want to say, her mom is so wonderful. The conversation she had with Tom before the wedding was so emotional. She just has that motherly, nurturing vibe, and anyone would be lucky to have her as a mother-in-law. I was so impressed with Maria's mom. The major problem that has occurred between Maria and Tom so far in their journey has been they have very different cultures. That's the word. There's a culture clash. And we saw it occur when it came to finances. She believes that the man is the provider. And so there's certain things that she looks at the man is supposed to provide. I don't think she means that the woman doesn't do anything. I don't think that's what she means at all. But it's just like the man should be the main provider. And she talked about it being something that is, that's how it's done in her culture. He's like the opposite of that. He wouldn't even buy her ice cream. They went out and he didn't pay for the ice cream. And she was like, what? You're not even going to pay for the ice cream? And then he was like expecting her to pay for half of the mortgage when they move in. And she was like, I don't want to pay for a mortgage that my name is not on. So they were like on two opposite sides of the spectrum when it came to finances. And I suspect that if they had actually dated longer, they would have seen other places where there's also a culture clash, not just in finances. But finances is one of the major reasons why people get divorced. So when you guys are so on different pages when it comes to your finances, I mean, you really cannot ignore that. So I was not surprised that it was going to be a no at the altar from Tom. So they got to the altar, and Tom said no. Tom said he's not going ahead with the marriage. And from the way that it ended, I don't think that they're going to have like a relationship after. Maria would be willing to have a relationship with him from the way it ended, right? But I think Tom knows in his heart of heart that the differences are they're too deep. They're not things that they're just easy to overcome. They're just two different people. So I don't know if they're going to try to date in the real world. But if they do, I also don't know that it will work out. So that was the end of Maria and Tom. was quite predictable. We all saw it coming. I was surprised Maria didn't see it coming. I was like, come on, Maria, you should have known that that was what was going to happen. But again, we're going to hear from them again at the reunion, so we'll see what has happened so far. Next couple, Ollie and Demi. Oh my gosh, it has been a roller coaster with Ollie and Demi, but this is what I will start by saying. I think I finally figured Ollie out. I think so. And there's one or two things that happened in the finale that made me figure him out in relationship to when it comes to how he truly feels about Demi. I think I figured it out. So in the time that they left the apartment in London, between that time and the wedding time, apparently Ollie did not reach out to Demi. So Demi was concerned about that because that kind of like almost like lit a light bulb in Demi's head. Like, we didn't talk all through as we're leading up to the wedding from when we left the apartment. It kind of made her realize something. And I think I realized it too in that moment. I think that was the moment that Demi's yes turned to a no. And so then she was struggling because she was like, does she follow her heart or does she follow her mind, like what her brain is telling her? And I guess if she had followed her heart, it would have been a yes because she loves Ollie, but her brain is telling her there's something not right about this relationship. So they get there, they get to the altar. Before that, you could see Ollie was so nervous. He was not only that he was nervous, right? But he didn't seem like someone that was like so happy and emotional about getting married. Like, if you're about to get married to the love of your life, you know how you would feel. Like, you can be nervous, but you can also be very excited and happy. Ollie did not seem excited, did not seem happy. He just seemed very, very nervous. And I started to wonder, what exactly are you nervous about? Are you nervous about how you're going to say no at the altar? Like, is that what you're thinking? Because I don't think you plan to say yes there. That's what I was thinking. So when they got to the altar, they asked Demi first. And Demi said no. And then Ollie then tries to act like he is upset and is like, why? And in that moment, guys, that's the moment that I said, that is bad acting. I still like Ollie, don't get me wrong. I very much still like Ollie, and I think that he is one of the best guys that they had there too this season. They had a lot of good guys. But what the problem is Ollie doesn't have a romantic emotion towards them. He doesn't feel a romantic emotion towards Demi. He likes Demi as a person. He likes how she makes him feel, like how she treats him. But you know, that love, that romantic love, not the love that you have for a friend, the love you have for a partner, I think that's what's missing. But I also think that Ollie figured that out earlier on, but he wanted to go through with the experiment and get to the altar and say his bit. And I think he was also probably concerned about, I don't want to seem like I'm not into it. And so he was trying to make an effort to seem like he was into it. That's my opinion. Because the two things that made me know for sure he's not into this relationship is when he didn't reach out to her before the wedding, because it's a natural action. You guys leave the apartment where you guys have been together for like how many weeks? You're getting ready for the wedding. Of course you want to check up on her. Of course you want to know how she's feeling. Like, is she nervous? Is she anxious? How you doing? How you cope? It's a normal act that you do when you love the person you're with and when you're missing the person. Like, imagine if you are apart from your lover and you're missing your lover. Of course you want to reach out to the person. So the fact that he didn't do it shows me, and obviously showed Demi, he was never really into that relationship. He was trying to act like he was, but he wasn't. So the whole why at the altar for me was an act, because I'm almost 100% sure that if they had asked Ollie would have said no. So what's the why about? Because then after that, when he was speaking to like his friend Aaron, he was like, you seem happy and sad at the same time. He seemed like he was happy but was trying to hold it in. I think he was happy because she ended up saying no at the altar and not him, and therefore he was able to kind of escape the whole, oh, you broke Demi's heart kind of a point of way of seeing it. So now they'll be like, oh, Demi was the one that said no to him, and then Ollie was like sad, and that's, so he was happy about how it turned out, so he didn't have to do what he was nervous about doing. But he wasn't sad that they weren't getting married. He had no plans of getting married to her that day, for real. And again, this is not to say that he's a bad person, but I definitely think that he tried to act like he was into it. He wasn't. He absolutely wasn't into it. And I don't even know if the relationship would still work. Like, I'm sure that they probably would try after the show, but I don't know if it will work out. I think that Demi is good for Ollie, because Ollie's kind of person needs a very patient woman, needs that kind of woman that is like nurturing and patient, like just the way Demi is to him. He needs that. But I also think that Demi deserves someone who truly desires her in her totality and treats her that way as well. So I understand why Demi said no. Now, wishful thinking on my side, they come out, they get to re-explore the relationship, this time away from the cameras, away from the other castmates. And who knows, this time around, Ollie does develop a true connection with her, like a true romantic connection, and they work out. That's wishful thinking on my side, because I so much am rooting for that relationship. But, you know, I think this was a good experience for Demi, most especially. She said it herself, like she found herself loving herself more, like coming to the show. And we were just delighted to get to know her through the screens. She's just a delightful soul. So I honestly think it ended up working out for the best, because there was still some sort of beautiful outcome out of her being on the show. So good luck to both of them. I like both of them. I still like Ollie. I very much love Demi and wish nothing but the best for the both of them. Next we have Sabrina and Steven. Sabrina and Steven literally had no drama all through the season. And before now, I will say that I was one of those people that I was very skeptical about the relationship. It just seemed too honeymoon phase. I was like, at what point do you get to the real phase? Like, not the honeymoon phase, the real phase. But one thing I will say after watching that finale, that girl, Sabrina, carried herself with so much dignity and self-respect all through the season that I felt like I just needed to point it out. I understood why Steven was so into her. There's a level of maturity that she displayed that I just have to respect. Like, I just have to respect. And even though I maybe was skeptical about them at the beginning, I think I'm finally getting it. I'm finally understanding their dynamic a little bit more. I don't think they gave us a whole lot on camera. That's what I suspect. Because, you know, sometimes couples that go to Love is Blind, they have more of the real conversations off camera, and then on camera they kind of try to act all cool and chill and like it's all lovey-dovey. So then we are wondering, like, when did these people ever have convos? I think they had conversations, but probably it was off camera. But like I said, I have developed a new level of respect for Sabrina because of the way she interacted with other people on the show and with Steven. Like, some of the other people were just, everybody was great. I like everybody that came on the show, but what I mean is some people had a little bit more drama than others. She literally just came there and was about exploring her relationship, did not mind anyone else's business, was respectful to herself, to Steven, to everybody else, and I think at the end of the day it worked out for her. And I think Steven is a great guy, so I think she really got someone good, and I think they could work out. They could work out. So at the altar, of course, they both said yes. Nobody was surprised by that. Like, of course, they were going to say yes. And again, I really do think they have a shot in the real world. I think they could work out. I see now, I guess, what some people saw before that I couldn't see when it comes to Sabrina and Steven. So kudos to them. Good luck to them. Happy for them. Who else? Do we have anybody else? Oh, Nicole and Benaya. I even forget that they're there. That's how much I just don't care for that couple. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, anyway, I'll talk about them just for the sake of this episode. So Nicole started to get a little bit worried because apparently when they were talking, Benaya made a comment about how, because of how the experiment is, there's a higher possibility that someone who goes through that experiment and gets married to that experiment gets divorced, right? Which technically is true. If you think about it, you don't have as much time to get to know the other person as much as you would have in the real world. So obviously there's a higher possibility that you could get divorced. So I got the point that he was making, but Nicole, having been divorced before, that was a trigger. So the second he said that, she was like, oh no, we should not even mention the D word. It shouldn't even be a conversation. We should be going into this willing to do whatever needs to be done to ensure we don't divorce. So that was something that kind of worried her. And then of course, the fact that Benaya has this nomadic lifestyle, and she worried that he could just kind of get tired of the whole being in one place and having a family and all of those things, and want to kind of go back to his old ways when it comes to the lifestyle that he lives. So she was worried about that. I would say rightly so. I would have been worried about that too if I were in her shoes. Benaya was actually very excited. Like, he did not have cold feet. He was super, you could tell he already knew he was going to say yes, and he was just hoping that Nicole was going to say yes. So Benaya had absolutely no doubt. They got there, they got to the altar, they both said yes. I am happy for them, even though, again, they weren't a couple that I was really that invested in watching the show. But I am happy that they're happy, if you get what I mean. And maybe one of the reasons why I wasn't so invested in it is because of all the drama that there was at the beginning. And it just felt, yeah, whatever. But they may work out in real life. Actually, I wish that for Nicole. I really just wish that everything works out and they have a good relationship, a good marriage and whatnot. So I'm going to put that into the universe for her. So yeah, so that's it for Benaya and Nicole. Nothing else really happened. They got married. And before I forget, we also had Jasmine and Bobby. So Jasmine started to get a little bit anxious because her mom called her the night before the wedding and expressed her concerns about the wedding and was trying to get the daughter to call it off. I have to say this, even though her mom did come across very, very tough towards Bobby, I understood why as a mom you would have concerns. Like, that's your daughter and you're not sure about this experiment. You feel like this is just not the best way for your daughter to go about getting married, and so you have concerns. I get it. I actually understood it. I also understood why Jasmine was a little bit anxious about it, because you don't want your mom to not be in support of your marriage, right? Like, you don't want that to be the case. So I kind of got why. I understood both of them in that situation. Bobby, on the other hand, was so ready. Like, he was so excited. He was so ready. There's something that Jasmine said about Bobby, which I agree with. She's like, he has this quiet confidence. Bobby doesn't give drama, at least not on the show. But he doesn't appear like someone who is a pushover either. Like, he has this quiet confidence to him. He's a confident person, but doesn't feel the need to like over talk or overact or over anything. He's just like really quiet about it. And I do have to say, there's something very attractive about that. I will agree. And Jasmine, again, with her, I had different opinions at different point in time. At the beginning, she was my favorite. When she was like all rude towards Ollie, I was like, Why are you in your friend's business? And then now I'm like, again, yes, why were you in your friend's business? But I do think you and Bobby would work out. Well, could, not would, could work out. And I think she actually has a lot of good things about her. I see why Bobby fell in love with her. She does have very good, I think she's quite empathetic. She's empathetic, and she has a profession that I respect a lot. She's a mental health nurse, and that's maybe why she understands people the way she does. So yeah, they went to the altar. They both said yes. I think we were worried for a bit that Jasmine was not going to say yes, just because of the phone call she received from her mom. But eventually, I guess she thought about it and decided that Bobby was the guy for her. And we were happy for her for deciding that, right? Because Bobby is a great guy, at least from what we saw on TV. You don't know in real life. So they got married, and good for them. That was a beautiful one as well. Guys, I've officially reviewed all the episodes of Love is Blind UK. And I'm actually proud of myself for doing that, because I wasn't sure I was going to do that, but I was like, I love this show. I know that a lot of people that come here to watch and listen to me love the show as well. So, okay, I'll just do it. Let's see how it goes. And I will be on the watch out for the reunion. I hope the reunion is not going to be like a toxic reunion. The hosts of the Love is Blind UK, they are my favorite, period. Like, among all the franchises that we have seen, I would say that they're the best. And I think I expect them to do a way better job than the hosts in the US of Love is Blind US. You know what I mean? They're not great. Nothing against them, but they're just not great at the job. We can't be great at everything. Everybody has what they are good at. Hosting Love is Blind is not their thing. The ones in the UK, they are... I am actually excited to watch the reunion, not just because of I want to see where the couples are now, like maybe the ones that made it up to now and all of that, but because I think that the hosts will actually do a good job for once, right? But yeah, they're great hosts. So I will get back to you with my views on the reunion and everything that happened and whatnot, so be on the watch out for that. In the meantime, as usual, don't leave me here to be talking to myself. Go to the comment section, share your own opinions, your views, like, share, subscribe. And as you're doing that, I send you love, peace, and light. Thank you so much.